Here we are again. We're going to take a look at this beautiful map from 1885, Sanborn Fire Insurance Maps. This is map number 3, showing a portion of downtown Mobile, bounded on the south by Government Street, on the east by Warren Street, south and north. The top is St. Michael Street, that's in the north, and on the west is Scott Street, with Spring Hill Road at this time coming into a little 5 points. We'll start down here in the bottom southwest quarter, sorry. Okay. This building here is likely the same building as what houses the Mobile Public Library offices. The Lagniappe building would be here in this portion. You'll see the address numbers are quite different from they are today. I have a 1891 map 6 years later that the east and west addresses are much more like they are today. The next block here would be where McDonald's is. McDonald's would be here, their parking lot here. There's a little building. I'm not sure if this same little building is still there. There's an old building at the corner of Conti. And in this map, it's showing Wilkinson Street, but we now know it as Washington Avenue. Not exactly sure when that name changed, but we'll hopefully find out over the future. This block is now where the Serda Brewery is, on this portion here. And you see these DWG stands for dwellings. This was a bit larger dwelling, and maybe a wall around it. We'll go up a block here to this area of dwellings is now mostly parking lot, but across the Dolphin Street here would be where we now have Wintzell's. And at that time it was a shanty. I'm not exactly sure what this would be. Here's a dwelling with tenants, a baker on the first floor, dwellings, a vacant dwelling. If you go to the baker, goes far back to his bakery and his oven, a long way from the shop and the house in case of fire. We'll move over to the next block. This block is now where there's a parking lot here. The OK Bike Shop is here in Liquid. The garage would be here on this corner. And I don't know if anything survived at that time period. Maybe some of these buildings here, but I'm not certain. One more block to the west, you'll see Schumacher's Carriage Factory. So that's what now is called the Carriage Factory Apartments. They'd be in this area here. You see another baker and a dwelling. It goes, the bakery's further back, and then the oven at the very back end. Try to control fires. We'll go up a block. This block has an art studio here, and Moe's Barbecue Restaurant would be located here. This is what I find very interesting. What is now a little median with a tree and an oyster shell had been a market. All these little roads met together, and it was a nice marketplace for this area. Here we see the little row of buildings. I'm not sure if it's the same as it was back in the day. Another baker, a bakery and an oven toward the back. Fruit. A barber. I think Johnny Gwynn and Tom Mason have their offices here today. We'll go a little bit further along. Here was a dwelling and a soda shop. Meat on the first floor in the dwelling. The corner here was a restaurant and a barber. A lot of barbers. A lot of people getting their hair cut on that same block. A carriage shop. And some more dwellings. Here's something I find interesting. The Creole Engine House number 1, which is still there today after 200 years. It's marked. And a colored meeting house. That's closer to the corner than I can recognize a building, but there is a large masonry building in this area. Maybe it's the same building. That looks as if it may have been there. This map would be now 135 years ago. This block here is where the central fire station is. At this time there was a dry goods and a dwelling. It had an awning out onto the street and an old vacant building. If it was an old vacant building in 1885, how old was it? It makes me interested in that. We'll go back across the street from the Creole house. And we'll go back up here. Word here, Negro shanties, dwellings. I believe one of these two houses is still in existence. The Dutch school, I don't know of, but there's a Lutheran church, and today there's a German Lutheran church in the block. This is also the corner where the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity house is, across the street from the Kappa Alpha Psi house, which at that time shows as Negro shanties. And dwellings. This corner grocery store at the corner of St. Michael and now what's called Washington Avenue, at that time Wilkinson Street, the building's still there. It was being worked on a while ago. I'm not sure if they finished it, but maybe it'll come back to life. More dwellings. At the corner here was a shoemaker. That building, I believe, is still in existence across the street from Ryan Park here. Okay, that's a look at this 1885 map. If you're interested in getting a copy of it, I can email you a copy for $5, or we'd have one printed. We'll have to look at the price of size you want printed. There'll be information at the end of this video. Thank you for your time. Look for more. Look for us on Facebook. We also do internet marketing today and getting your business to the top of Google Maps. Be glad to discuss that with you. The email address will be at the end of the video. Thank you.